first press conference. So, well, on behalf of Catalyst Exhibits, I would like to thank the governor, Lieutenant Governor, CABA, and their staffs for their professionalism and assistance in helping Catalyst Exhibits make this very important decision for our future. At Catalyst Exhibits, we work very hard to align our goals with our clients' goals. And we're excited to be here because the state of Wisconsin and Kenosha County is working very hard to align their goals with our goals and helping small businesses like Catalyst Exhibits move to Wisconsin. Their understanding of our needs and concerns have helped us position ourselves for growth in the future, and we're very excited about turning this empty warehouse into a productive place that employs 80 to 100 people, that's positioned well for the future, and becomes a productive corporate citizen of the state and also of the county of Kenosha. Thank you very much.
Well, we're excited to be here with Tim and Rich and Larry and their team with Catalyst Exhibits, because I think this is really going to be a catalyst not only for their company, but a catalyst for economic growth here in Pleasant Prairie and Kenosha County and the state of Wisconsin. Before giving some comments and making a check presentation, and we're going to hear in a moment from Todd Battle, who's done a great job here as well with the Kenosha Area Business Alliance, but I want to acknowledge some of the other leaders here with us as well. One of my former colleagues twice over, first in the Assembly and then as a county executive, Jim Cruiser, the county executive of Kenosha County, is here, and Kenosha County is playing a key role in helping us with what we're going to be announcing in a minute. We've got John Steinbrink, who's not only as a state representative, but as a leader in Pleasant Prairie as well. We're pleased to have you here on behalf of both your Assembly role and local government as well. We're joined by other colleagues from the legislature, Sam Kirkman, who's here, as well as State Senator Van Wangart. And we're really pleased to have this team here because this is really a team effort. You know, about a month and a half ago, we put up signs along the state line that say Wisconsin is open for business. We did it here, we did it in Rock County, we did it in other places around the state of Wisconsin. And for us, it was more than just putting a sign up, it was really trying to follow through on that. And I've said time and time again, it's why there's a great crowd of people here today. When we talk about jobs, they're not Republican jobs, they're not Democrat jobs, they're Wisconsin jobs. And that's why we're working so hard. We've worked hard in the past and we'll continue to work hard in the future. And with Catalyst Exhibits, it's a great example of how that hard work is paying off. Early on, Todd Battle last year had been reaching out on behalf of the Kenosha Area Business Alliance and their work that they do not only here in Kenosha County, but with the M7 in this region, had started to reach out. Their broker, Larry, had been interested in looking at sites like we have here. And our Lieutenant Governor, Rebecca Kleefisch, early on after we took office, literally got on the phone with Tim and said, what can we do? What can we do? And immediately we engaged our team through Secretary Paul Jane in the Department of Commerce. He worked with Todd, who's been giving us tips and leads over and over again about the potential opportunities we have to bring businesses and grow businesses that are here in Kenosha County. And this really kind of all came together. And it's a perfect fit because as we talked about a month and a half ago, I pulled out another bumper sticker back then because it was right after the folks down in Springfield had raised the taxes on individuals and on businesses. And I pulled out an old tourism sticker that said, "Escape to Wisconsin." And I went on TV in Chicago, and I went on TV in Springfield and Rockford and the Quad Cities, and I said, for all those businesses that are wondering what to do now that the effective tax rate in Illinois is 9.5% compared to the corporate rate of 7.9% in Wisconsin, here's the simple answer, and I held up the sign that said, "Escape to Wisconsin." And little did we know how true that would be. But more importantly than just that, than just the differential in terms of the cost of doing business in this state, it was really something that Tim and I talked about that ultimately makes the difference. And for employers like you and others, it's not just about what's happening right now, it's about where you're headed. It's about you make business decisions about where you want to be 2, 4, 6, 10 years into the future. And it's not just about where things are at this moment. That's how businesses make decisions. And I think businesses respect local governments and state governments that have that same sort of foresight. Certainly here in Pleasant Prairie and in Kenosha County, they've had the foresight to have a development in this area that is open, accessible. It's right off the I-94 corridor. It continues to be a good place to do business in. And in Wisconsin's case, by us moving forward, by passing early on this session things that make it even easier to do business in this state. It's yet one more advantage for companies looking to say where do they want to be, not just in the near term, but in the long term. We are indeed a place that is open for business. Contrast that to Illinois, where they're not only raising taxes, but where they've got a pension system that's less than half funded. You know, we've got a fully funded pension system. We've got long-term stability. We're moving this state forward. And I think those are just the sort of things that employers want to see as they make an investment. The other great part about this is it's not just about moving jobs, it's about creating more jobs. Certainly for us, the 80-some jobs, the 80 people that work for Catalyst Exhibits coming from Crystal Lake up to Pleasant Prairie are new jobs for us here in the state of Wisconsin. But the other part of this deal about why it's so important is the fact that Catalyst Exhibits are growing. They are catalysts for growth. They're looking at unique opportunities of the building and expanding. And as we come out of the economic challenges we face, not only here but across the country and around the globe, they want to be at the forefront of helping businesses go out, particularly on the convention market, and make their case to their customers. And so part of this is not just moving 80 jobs, it's about creating 25 more jobs on top of that. You're going to have a site that over the next couple of years will ultimately have 105 or more jobs here because of the growth in Catalyst Exhibits. And that's exciting news because I think that sends a message not just to your customer base, but it sends a message to other employers that this is a place that you can not only move to and find to be cost effective to do business at, this is a place you can grow in and you can ultimately see a difference in. So with that in mind, what we're announcing today, and in a second I'm going to give the check to Tim, and I'm going to ask the folks here and Todd Battle to join us as well. This is ultimately why the Wisconsin Department of Commerce and why I'm pleased to announce and officially provide $500,000 that will be part of, will be done through Kenosha County to provide a loan for Catalyst Exhibits to move to this site, to redo, which you've got about 144,000 square feet facility where they can not only move in, but make the kind of adaptations that they need to make to really be at the forefront of their game, to be leading the way. And we're doing that through the Department of Commerce's program for Community Development Block Grant Economic Development component. It'll be made again through Kenosha County as a surrogate for that, and it'll be one step in many more that will happen here in Pleasant Prairie, many more that will happen in Kenosha County, and many more that will happen in the great state of Wisconsin. So we're pleased to make that. So with that, we've got a check. You don't have to run out and cash it right away, but you need a big bank, or I guess that's right. Yeah, that's right. We'll see if it goes through. But we've got a big check, and you folks come on in. County exec, come on in. You guys are part of it. So, and this is for $500,000 for Catalyst Exhibits as part of our commitment to helping you move jobs from Illinois, but more importantly, create more jobs here in the great state of Wisconsin.
Thank you, Governor.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Excellent. Todd, you want to say a few words? Todd Battle.
Thank you, Governor. My name's Todd Battle. I'm with the Kenosha Area Business Alliance. We're the Economic Development Corporation here in Kenosha County. And we have a great team, as you can see, Governor Walker and his administration, the Department of Commerce, the Village of Pleasant Prairie, President Steinbrink and Administrator Mike Polikoff, and Kenosha County Executive Jim Cruiser. That team really kind of sets the table and hopefully creates the environment and proves that the state is open for business. And then we rely on investments from entrepreneurs and risk takers like Tim and his team and Rich Korth from Catalyst Exhibits to come into our state and make a long-term investment. So we're really excited about this project. They are breathing some life back into this facility. They'll renovate this 144,000 square foot facility. They'll put about 90 people into the facility to work, and they've got significant growth plans over the next 3 years. We're happy to team with Governor Walker and his administration to support that project, and we're really excited about it. I know the governor's put a bold initiative out there, and he said we're going to bring 250,000 new jobs to the state of Wisconsin over the next 4 years. So I went back and did a little math, and based on Kenosha County's population share, we're kind of signed up for about 7,300 of those. So we rounded up to 7,500, 100 today. We've got about 7,400 more to go. So we've got some work to do, but we are very excited today to announce Catalyst Exhibits and welcome them to the state of Wisconsin and confirm that the state's open for business. Thank you.
I just want to thank Catalyst Exhibits for making the decision they did and and appreciate it. In this environment, we need a team that pulls together, and I can't thank the CABA board and Todd Battle, the executive director, for pulling the pieces together, having a professional that is the economic arm of Kenosha County, and working with our strong partners in the other municipalities, and especially with the state of Wisconsin, Village of Pleasant Prairie, obviously Governor's office, and that type of teamwork pulls together. And I think the number you have for Kenosha might be higher than 7,400, but that's all right.
We're optimistic about you guys.
That's it, and so am I. So working together, getting people here working and creating more action, economic development, and creating jobs is what it's all about. And I'm really glad to be here today. And whenever you're here with a check, Governor, I'm glad to be here.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
John?
Thank you, Governor. Apparently these guys didn't eat their breakfast. This mic is way down here. So. But I want to welcome everybody here to Pleasant Prairie, and especially Tim and your company to Pleasant Prairie. And Governor, welcome to Pleasant Prairie. It seems like I can't shake these guys. I was with the governor in the legislature many years ago along with Jim, and now they're county executives. I'm a village president yet, but you forgot to mention I'm also a farmer. My mom said I had to have one honest job, so I'm sticking with the farming for a while yet. But in welcoming you to Pleasant Prairie, I assume most of you came in on Highway 165, Lakeview Corporate Drive, and you went past Lake Andrea. And that's kind of interesting because years ago, I think it was 1988, along with Governor Thompson, and I think you were part of that, and Jim, and we created Lakeview Corporate Park by creating the utility holding company, and that was people working together. And as you see Lake Andrea out there, you see a lake we named after the senator. He worked along with Mary Panzer to make sure this happened. And that was a lot of folks working together as we do today with the state and CABA and the county to bring jobs and economic development to our area. And we're proud of that. And I think as we stand here today, we are able to enjoy the fruits of that labor of people working together. So I hope we can continue to work together to bring jobs to southeast Wisconsin, and grow our economy back to where it should be. And I want to thank Mike Polikoff and his staff for working. I always get to stand up here, but they're the folks doing the work in the background. And it's those folks providing what you see here today, and the fire chief and the police chief, that environment that draws people to Pleasant Prairie and to Kenosha County, because this is a great place to live, work, and play. And one of the things we'll look across, if you get a chance, stop at the Recplex over there, and you can see what we've done working together as a community with the folks in this community and the surrounding areas to create the environment that hopefully you're going to enjoy coming to this place, and we welcome you again, and thank you very much.
I just conclude, and then we'll take some questions if you have them. But saying, John, you're right. In fact, they were talking about that, the Recplex and the food and attractions and coming off of I-94 in this corridor. So it's good stuff. The one charge I'll give to all the other businesses in this region is now if you've got opportunities for displays and conventions, these are the guys that are right here in your backyard. So put in the work, and that'll help them create more than just those 25 jobs they've got targeted to add on to the ones they already have, but many, many more into the future. And I want to thank the team up here, but particularly thank Todd Battle, because I know literally even before taking office, Todd was on the phone with us saying, can you call this, not only you guys, but can you call, I've had a whole list of companies in November and December we've been calling, and that's what it really takes, because as Tim and Rich and I were talking about, their other partner, Paul, is actually out preparing another presentation for some more job growth and opportunity for them. But what we've found increasingly from businesses, particularly those coming up from Illinois, but from those here as well, is what they want to know is that their local government and their state government and their partners in the business community are interested, are aggressive, are willing. And I think it's a sign not just when you're coming, but we're going to continue to stand with you and help you grow here, both from the state standpoint, but also from the local standpoint. And that kind of partnership is going to put more of our people to work in this state. So we thank you all for that. We can take a couple questions if you want before we head off. We're going to another stop later today to talk about jobs in Rock County as well, so it's kind of good. Sure. Yeah, I can mention something, then I'll turn it over to Tim. I mean, the nice thing about this is, and this was something that really scored high in terms of the Department of Commerce looking at making this sort of commitment along with our local partners, is you're talking about an average starting pay of $34.50. So these are good paying jobs, they're professional jobs. There's a mix, everything from designers, sales team, even some warehouse positions. So there's some really high quality jobs. I don't know if I articulated that accurately.
Very well.
Good. I actually read my material. Pretty good. Yeah, they actually pay. They have a health care plan. I think you guys pay, what, about 75% of the health care, and you've got a retirement plan as well.
Long-term, short-term disability.
The 3450, no, that's outright wages. And good question, though.
Governor, you just started your jobs tour already. You're talking about jobs coming to Wisconsin. It's got to make you feel good now. I know you can't say much more, but is there more good news to come in the near future?
Later today in Rock County, we'll be talking about more jobs coming in, and I think John Steinberg hit it right on the head. The first 4 or 5 weeks of this year, a lot of talk about jobs, a lot of things where Democrats and Republicans came together. One of the next stops, I'll be in an area where we work with Senator Tim Cullen as well as Republicans in that area. For us, I can't say it enough. Jobs aren't about one party or the other. They're about putting people to Wisconsin to work. And to the extent that we get back to that, I think that'll help in the state capitol. It's certainly something I've seen at the local level. Jim and I work together as county executives in local government. And for us, the reason we could was because our focus wasn't about a party agenda. It was about putting people to work and getting things done. If we do more of that in the capitol, we'll be better off. Well, the overall rate actually for the state went down. First month of the year, 7.4%. It was 7.5% the month before. In the first month of the year in January, we created 10,100 new private sector jobs. I think you're going to see that continue. Obviously, some areas of the state have not had the kind of recovery that other parts have, but overall, the unemployment rate in the state has gone down to 7.4%. That's below the national average, which is sitting about 8.9% right now. But for us, that's still woefully too high. I mean, we'd like to be at a point where you're sitting at about 3-4%. Historically, economists have said 3% is what they call full employment because of the shifts of people coming on and off. We're obviously twice that size right now. Better than the national average, better than our neighbors. So again, it's one more reason why companies like Catalyst and others would want to come to Wisconsin, because there's a better place here, but we need to create more jobs to lower that unemployment rate.
The entire Crystal Lake workforce being transferred up to Pleasant Prairie to this facility?
Yes, the vast majority. We're going to have a couple of retirements, but otherwise everyone else is coming up. Well, we're actually in the process right now. We've hired some people already, and we're going to be hiring people probably through the first of the year. Well, it's a combination of we did outgrow it, yes, but also what's more important, this facility is allowing us to essentially reorganize ourselves without laying people off, but essentially set ourselves up for the future. We're going to change our workflow. We're going to increase our office size, new technology, put it all in. I mean, Wi-Fi, iPads, all this type of thing that we're going to be allowed to do here versus essentially it'd be very difficult for us to retrofit where we're currently at. So it's really all about innovation and being more efficient so we can actually help our clients achieve their goals. So, Roberts, yes.
One other thing, Tim and I talked about this as well. Where they were at in Illinois is west of Chicago. It's kind of out there all by yourself, right? I mean, whereas here, in terms of growth, they're positioned in really what many people call a mega city corridor.
Yeah.
You're within Chicago, but between Chicago, Milwaukee, Kenosha, Racine, all throughout this corridor, you've got one of the most expanding areas, and you're right off of a major arterial route with I-94. So there's some significant advantages for growth.
That's a very important part. Where we were at in Crystal Lake, we were kind of out, I don't want to say in the middle of nowhere, but we're away from the freeways and so forth, and it's very difficult to get good employees out to Crystal Lake. I mean, our staff is very talented, very diverse, and we can pull people from Evanston all the way up to Milwaukee. So that's a great advantage for us. And again, we need talented people, and I think this location is going to help us get those people.
What originally caught your attention? I know the governor was talking about even marketing in Illinois. Was it something like that? Did someone contact you? How did you become aware of this?
Actually, I was in Florida, and my cell phone rang, and it was the lieutenant governor. And we were mulling around making a move, or should we stay where we're at or make a move, and trying to figure out what we were going to do. She essentially cold called me, and we started talking a little bit, was willing to meet that week, came up, met with the lieutenant governor. We had an offer on the table the following morning. Everything was very professional, very proactive, very responsive. They listened to our needs, they listened to our concerns, and addressed all of them. So it was actually a pleasure to work with the state. And I'm not just saying that, it truly was. I mean, they understand business and they understand what needs to get done. But the Lieutenant Governor's office was wonderful. Like I said, everyone that we worked with has been very helpful. This is a tough decision for us. We're uprooting our complete facility. It's a big transition, but it's a very exciting opportunity for us, too, to change the way we work and what we do. And again, the decision wasn't based on today. The decision's based on tomorrow, where Catalyst needs to go and also where the state of Wisconsin is heading as well.
Yeah, I said that a little bit of the delusionalness from Illinois, because I think if you look at every business reporter across the country, I talked to Reuters 2 weeks ago and said investors like to go to places where there's stability. And while obviously for about a month there was a lot of passion around the Capitol, you look long term, we've got one of the most stable governments at both the state and the local level of any in the country. Illinois has got a pension system that's less than half funded right now. They're going to be back probably in a year having to raise taxes because they didn't deal with that challenge. They're already talking about taking benefits away from the retirees and all sorts of problems there. We're not. We're moving forward. In this state, again, our local governments are in shape, our state government's in shape. We're going to be able to move forward, and that gives investors who are looking to make investments in companies like this and sites like this the stability they need to move forward. We have an effective tax rate for our businesses that's less than Illinois. And I think overall an attractiveness that Tim and his team talked about, Larry certainly as a broker pointed to, you got not just from a tax burden, but also, again, places like this. I can't emphasize enough, Todd Battle's had us talking to a lot of businesses from Illinois. This is a great location. Kenosha County, particularly here in this corporate park, is a prime location because you've still got easy access and proximity to the northern suburbs of Chicago and Lake and Forest County, as well as the northern tip of Cook County. You've got access up to Racine and Milwaukee. You've got a major corridor with a lot of different transportation options. This is a great place to be at, and this is one more way for us to do that. Our actions speak louder than words. They can put all the ads in the world out there, but the phone's been ringing off the hook. As Tim mentioned, the Lieutenant Governor has been making calls on our behalf for the past 2 months. We've had Secretary Jaden reaching out. We've been following up on tips from the Kenosha Area Business Alliance and the M7, as well as other regional economic development efforts, and it's paying off. You're going to see a lot more companies. Again, later today, we'll be in Evansville, and in the next couple of weeks, we'll be continuing to make announcements like this all across the state. We wanted to make sure, we talked about this actually back at the beginning of February when we had our State of the State address. We invited Tim to come on up. It was the night of the blizzard, so thankfully he didn't because he would have been probably stuck somewhere along the state line. And then we decided with these announcements it was better to give them the kind of attention that they deserve and not get caught up in all the other things that were happening in the Capitol because, again, this is the sort of thing that unites us, not divides us. When we talk about jobs and bringing people here, this is something we can all be proud of working together on.
Governor, I know it's early, but do you have a tally yet of where you're at in that goal of yours to review?
Well, we do month-by-month statistics. In the next couple of weeks, the February numbers will come out. They lag behind just like they do nationally. But again, for us to have the first month of January, we were ahead of the curve in terms of leading the pace for most states across the country. 10,100 new jobs in the private sector. For us, obviously, that puts us on a good pace. Not every month is going to be as strong as that, but if we continue to have successes here, because again, it's not just the jobs moving in, it's not just 25 or more jobs that will happen over the next couple of years. It is truly, play on words here, but it's truly the catalyst of other employers, particularly those already in the state and in this region right now, saying, you know what? You know, if they can come here, if they say this is a good place to do business, we should look at expanding. We should look at what's being offered here. We should take advantage of that. And I think for many folks, there's a lot of businesses I've found over the last 2 years traveling the state who thankfully weren't on the brink of disaster, who are in pretty good shape, but who've been afraid to take that leap forward and start adding jobs. When they start seeing other employers making that commitment, making that investment, in many cases it gives them the courage to stand up and do what they've been ready to do. They just haven't been willing to do because of their concerns about the economy. Again, we see the signs. We've seen it nationally, signs that the economy is starting to recover. We're going to recover in Wisconsin. I just want us to lead the way.
You've been criticized by a lot of Democrats for saying a lot over the last couple months, we are rural, things like that, and a lot of the reforms that we've made. Obviously today, you're really selling it, especially compared to like, can you just respond to that criticism, how some say, you know, you're supposed to be marketing the state, all people hear you say is.
Well, in our case, we point out the financial situation we're in, but again, unlike Illinois, which deferred the problem, we're actually dealt with it. Now, you can disagree or agree as to what the right approach is, but we're dealing with it in Wisconsin, just like we've dealt with it for years, Democrat and Republican alike. The problem in Illinois is they didn't deal with it. You know, someone argue whether a tax increase is right or not, but they raised taxes and they didn't deal with their pension problem. Now they're on the verge of taking pension benefits away from the retirees in that state, and you're going to see even more chaos down there. We have a stable system. I think it's because in this state, and you go back almost 163 years, I mean, our state's constitution was founded on frugality and moderation in government, ultimately as being the way we provided freedom and prosperity for our people. And I think that continues today. And to the extent that we keep that up, John, it's kind of like, it's a good, from a farm standpoint, seriously, there's a lot of strength to that the farming tradition, the agricultural tradition in the state was not to overextend ourselves. And I think that's put us in a better position. You compare us to Illinois, to California, to other states that are facing major long-term problems, we're in much better shape today. And again, it's why I think you're seeing more and more businesses will be announcing they're expanding as well as coming into Wisconsin. Thanks very much for your time.
Welcome home.